Hey everyone, and welcome back to yet another new video where we talk about our favorite subject, the one and only anime. This week we will be discussing the future of anime as a whole, with all the upcoming shows and how these shows are being portrayed. So before we start, be sure to hit the subscribe button and press on that bell icon and set us all to be notified about all our latest new videos. Throughout the history of anime, we have watched countless shows from multiple genres, and each one has its similarities as well as differences to another. During the golden age of anime though, a lot of shows became iconic and staples of the anime world and community as a whole. Examples of these are Yu Yu Hakusho, Saint Seiya, Cowboy Bebop, and of course, the grandfather of anime itself, Dragon Ball Z. These shows had a great impact on the industry as a whole and changed the face of the anime industry forever. For example, Dragon Ball Z gave the rise to the big three, Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. And no matter how much you would like to deny it, these three anime and manga changed the face of anime completely, making it a staple industry for Japan and recognized entertainment all over the world. And whether you like it or not, these anime are the big three, and for those that say that Bleach isn't one of the big three, or that these are the old big three and a new big three exist, are just so damn wrong. But I digress. We aren't here today to discuss why they are called the big three or how do they become the big three. We are here to discuss a much bigger issue that is concerning to some while just a normal occurrence to others. And this elephant in the big room is nothing other than the new anime that came out those past few years that featured a lot of nudity in them. They could be called borderline in a way. We both know which anime I am talking about. This wave, or this new genre if you want to call it so,
this is number one bullshit,
began thanks to an anime called Ishizuko Reviewers, or the Interspecies Reviewers. This anime had quite a simple plot. Three guys would go off to a different brothel every night and rate the woman in it, as well as the style of services they offered, and after they are done, they would post their ratings on the bulletin board in the tavern. At first, it was sort of a way to pass some time, meet some hot girls, and have fun. But later on, thanks to their highly descriptive and useful ratings, they were flooded with a lot of requests from monsters to rate certain brothels for them, since they want to visit it but have no idea how the service would go. The job of these three men were to go ahead and test the brothels and rate them for themselves. That was all. That anime had a simple, easy to understand plot with lots of ecchi scenes. And nudity was classified by some streaming platforms as and was banned from being released on their platform since it barely had any censorship at all. And even though it clearly wasn't, it was treated that way and banned almost everywhere. The only way to watch it was through third-party pirated websites or through the other select few platforms that didn't ban it from being streamed, and yet everyone was ecstatic about such a show, and the idea of a series, especially since it barely had any censorship to mention. This show became all the rage, with just the debut of the first episode, and everyone started clamoring that they wanted anime ongoing from that point to be the same style as this show. As a whole community, there is a lot of nudity when it comes to anime in the world, whether it was just ecchi or full-on hentai or somewhat in the middle like High School DxD for example. The backlash the anime featuring nudity received was also expected since everyone has that stereotype idea that anime is for kids. Then nudity is a definite no-no, and something completely unacceptable. Yet once the anime was done and everything calmed down afterwards until a new anime took the world by surprise.
Surprise, mother!
This anime is none other than Redo of a Healer. And even if you haven't watched a single episode of the series, I bet you already knew when I mentioned the anime title what anime I was talking about. This show became so notorious by episode 1 thanks to all the topics and taboos it shoved into one episode. The things that the main character went through were nothing short of sadistic and merciless actions dealt by a cruel and heartless entity. The princess sure got what she deserved, though in the end, however, and you already know what I am talking about, the rod scene. I won't go into any of the details of what happened in that episode, just mentioning this anime and some of its scenes could get this video cancelled. So, I have to choose my words carefully when talking about such a delicate subject like that show. The show later on introduces its harem, and one by one, well, he sleeps with all the girls in his party and submits them to his will. This character suffered a lot in his past, and now it is his time to finally live a little and have the revenge he couldn't get in his previous life. This series had a great impact, both positive and negative alike, when it was released, thanks to all the violence and profanity and nudity it featured in its episodes. However, what it also did was open the door for many more shows and series with similar themes and genres to finally jump out of the woodwork and see the light of day. Some of those shows are the Bastard manga with all its violence, profanity, and nudity. It is finally receiving an adaptation and will be released on Netflix soon, a platform that isn't strange to featuring nudity in its works. However, it was thanks to the redo of A Healer that this theme became somewhat the rage and somehow okay to be featured on streaming platforms and TV. It wasn't only series with nudity, however, as a lot of new series that are upcoming featured an insane amount of violence and profanity that will soon see the light of day, like the Chainsaw Man manga. A manga with a huge fanbase that were in disbelief at the fact that it is finally receiving an anime adaptation after all those years. This show is nothing less than a masterpiece with all its aspects combined, but it was due to its excessive violence that it was shelved. Until now, that is. And even now, a lot of new releases are somehow challenging and testing the limits. That thin, invisible line that separates ecchi and borderline hentai from full-on hentai, with the new works being released like, for example, The World's End Harem, a story of 5 surviving men in a world of only women. Only women. And these 5 men now have to repopulate the world. I won't mention any details of the show since even a 5th grade student knows how population is created between man and a woman, and since I don't want my channel to get cancelled, thank you very much. Overall, when it comes to all those new daring releases in nature, a lot of people will be concerned as to what comes next. And if this is just a wave that will soon calm down and everything will go back to normal, or that the anime industry is yet being transformed into a whole new form of industry that will feature again nudity and violence, like it used to do in the old days. And honestly, in my opinion, I am all in with the new changes taking place. No more senseless censoring and more violence and fights. This is the beginning of a new era, and whether you are with it or against it, the fact is that the industry in itself is changing into something new. And this thing will either doom the industry as a whole, or it will pump new blood into the mix and change the rules of the game forever. Overall, this is my opinion, and only the future will tell us what awaits us with the upcoming releases and how the audience will receive them as a whole. That is why all we can do for now is just wait until these shows are released and weigh the positive and negative sides of these shows. This was obviously my personal opinion in the matter, and it is far from being a fact. Each one of you surely has his own ideas and views as to what anime is becoming and whether it is a good thing or not. That is why I want you to comment down below and state where you stand in this matter, and if you are with it or against it. Anyways, that is all for today's video, and thank you guys so much for being such amazing followers, and if you like my content, I would ask you to just like, subscribe, and comment down below, as well as keep that notification bell on high alert to notify you of all our new upcoming content. And as for now, I'll catch you later. See you in the next one.